My name is Andrew Warren, and we're going to be looking at the statistical analysis of the effect of legalizing recreational marijuana on crime. Let's talk about marijuana in Massachusetts. It was first legalized medically in 2012, but recreationally in 2016, and even then retail sales did not begin until 2018. Today, 14 states plus DC have fully legalized recreational marijuana. To find any significant answers, more states were needed to compare to Massachusetts. So in this study, there's 13 states total, some with legal marijuana and some not, in order to look at the effects of legalizing recreational marijuana on crime. So marijuana, let's start with a positive. Once a state legalizes recreational marijuana, they are able to tax a market that previously existed but was untaxed. But what about crime? Does legalizing marijuana increase crime in a state? There is concern that property crimes will increase, specifically burglary and larceny. My research compares different states' crime data over time using a difference in differences method. In any experiment, there is a control group needed for comparison. But in our experiment, which deals with the legalization of recreational marijuana, we would need a counterfactual to act as this control. The counterfactual is what would have happened if a treatment was not engaged. It is impossible to know, in our case, what the real counterfactual would be because we can't go back in time and change the legalization of marijuana results. So, we had to expand it to look at similar states to try to create a pseudo-control group of Massachusetts-like citizens to act as our counterfactual. The difference in differences method is a quasi-experimental approach, meaning we would be looking at data and policies being put in place and compare the outcomes over time with similar groups that did not receive any treatment. In this case, the treatment is the legalization of marijuana, and the control group are the states that have not legalized recreational marijuana at all. In order to do this, two dummy variables are set up, one for legalization and the other for pre/post, meaning it is before or after Massachusetts legalized recreational marijuana in 2016. The difference in difference part comes next. These two variables are multiplied together to give us our third variable, diff and diff. This variable shows the states that have legalized recreational marijuana, compares it to the legalization in Massachusetts by multiplying the legalization by the pre-post variables. So, for our regressions, Stata was used to analyze the models. In order to find the best regression for the data, many variables were tested. The most fitting regression for our crimes ended up being our difference in difference variables, poverty, sales tax per capita, and median household income. It was important to account for population by changing the sales tax and crime variables to per capita data, which was important so that it would not be skewed by large population states and small population states. Poverty was an important factor to include in all the regressions since crime is heavily related to poverty, and tax per capita is helping us to control for the broadness of the poverty variable, clarifying the effects of that poverty and allowing more of the difference in difference variable to show. Median household income was found to be also related to crime. We had other variables that were tested, but were not found to be significant for our model. So our results from Stata, we can see that property crimes are much more significant results than violent crimes, meaning that marijuana legalization is more likely to have a real impact on the amount of property crimes. This was predicted. We also predicted that violent crimes would be more insignificant. We can break this down because marijuana is not impacting someone's mind as much as an addiction to other harder drugs, where we can see an issue of the devolution of someone's decision making. This is not the case for marijuana, since we see that they are not getting towards violent tendencies to get their craving. This is not the same as other harder drugs which push people to violence to get their extreme addiction satisfied. These results are expected. Significant results for property crimes and much less significant results for violent crimes. This is only a preliminary round of research, and this topic will be expanded to cover other variables such as traffic incidents and tax revenue.